Hi, I'm Emily. We are coming to you tonight from the Australian Defence Force Academy in Canberra, better known as Adver. We are in one of the practical labs tonight in the engineering faculty because tonight's theme is engineering. So if you have any questions in regards to engineering degrees at Adver, please make sure you're getting them through to us within the next hour. We will be here to answer your questions. I'm here with 3 trainee officers. They are tri-service and they're here to answer or help answer any questions that you have. So let's start with an introduction. Why don't you tell us your name, your degree here at Adver and your job in the Defence Force?
Hi Emily, I'm Officer Cadet Miguel Villa. I'm in the Royal Australian Air Force as a pilot trainee and I'm currently studying Bachelor of Technology Aeronautical Engineering.
I'm Midshipman Zachary Barra and I'm in the Royal Australian Navy as an Aeronautical Engineering Officer and I'm currently doing Aeronautical Engineering here at Adver.
I'm Officer Cadet Lily McIver. I'm in the Australian Army and I'm currently studying a Mechanical Engineering degree.
Wonderful. Now, why did you want to join Adver and what made you choose your particular service and your degree?
Yeah, well, when I was in high school, I had a few friends that had some family in Adver and Defence, and that kind of got me introduced to it. I came to the open day a few times, and I was really interested in maths, science, engineering, especially aviation. And just from the open day, I really saw that Adver could, give me everything that I was after. Yeah.
So I came to Adver because I didn't just want to get a degree in engineering, I also wanted to develop my personal life skills and leadership ability, and Adver gave me that opportunity.
For me, throughout high school, I was always very strong in the maths and science areas and I was always very interested in leadership. And from a young age especially, I've always been interested in the Army, so Adver was like the perfect combination of all those 3 aspects.
Yeah, cool. And so what is Adver exactly and who should consider Adver?
Yeah, well, Adver stands for the Australian Defence Force Academy, and it's a military tri-service officer training establishment here in Canberra. And basically, young training officers like us will come here and we'll study a university degree at the same time as we do our military training to become officers.
Yeah, so Adver's not like a normal university. It's got that military side and the university side. So you get a civilian university degree as well as getting trained as a military leader and in life skills and things that you'll need throughout your career in the military.
Yeah, absolutely. So perhaps people that wanted to study and juggle military service but maybe thought they couldn't juggle the two, this would be the perfect combination for them.
Yeah, definitely. And people that come to Adver have an interest in both their degrees and also, leading people and working in teams, not just one or the other.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about the benefits and some of the facilities here on campus?
So at Adver, there's a university side and a military side. So your university side has just the basic, everything you have at a normal uni. So all the different faculty buildings. There's also a 24-hour library where a lot of people get their study done. Then over on the military side, you've got your basic base sort of thing. So we've got a cadets mess where a lot of our functions are held and we eat there every day. We've also got a massive gym facility which incorporates a massive pool with an overhead obstacle course. There's also various courts, so whether you want to play squash or basketball, you can do that there. And then we've also got the massive cadet accommodation line, so that's where pretty much most of us live in tri-service environment.
Yeah, cool.
And we've also got a whole range of sports fields as well, so AFL ovals, soccer ovals, rugby as well.
And I did see an auditorium here, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big auditorium called Adams Auditorium. It fits around 1,000 people, so
wow.
If the whole academy needs to be in there at one time, we can go in there and we use it just for briefs, some classes, and also special events like special guest lecturers, just professionals from Canberra, and also like performing arts do performances in the auditorium as well. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And we'll have a range of talks that happen in there, whether it be a Chief of Defence Force address or if we're getting guest university lectures on a particular topic that's particularly relevant to our careers.
Wonderful. Now, each of your services are obviously quite different to each other, particularly when you come through Adver. You follow a different stream, I guess, for when you do eventually leave Adver, particularly with Navy and Army. So can we talk a little bit about that? Let's start with you, Lily. How is it for Army in Adver?
Yeah, so with Army, it's a bit different from the other two, as if all the Army cadets here, we all come in as this basist Army officer. And then once we start our time here, we've got a bit of time to really figure out what core, what job we want to go into. So obviously for engineers, if you're going to study an engineering degree, you're probably looking for an engineering core. However, with other degrees, throughout our SST and work experience, you really get to have a look at all the different cores, and then once you finish your time at RMC, you get to really decide where you want to go.
So it's more of a general entry and you specialise as you proceed
essentially,
through. Yeah, right. And what about you, Miguel?
Yeah, well, for Airforce, it's pretty straightforward. Probably the most simple of the three services. You are on day one, once you appoint, you come here to Adver and spend 3 years here. And while here at Adver, during some of the university breaks, Airforce will go away on single service training and we'll get taught Airforce specific skills. And then after the 3 years at Adver, if you're an engineering student, you'll stay to do a 4th year. If not, you'll just go out to Airforce units and do a bit more job-specific training until you get your first posting.
Great. But when you come through Adver, you're studying, but you have a particular job role as well.
Yeah.
In your instance, pilot?
Yeah. In my case, it's a pilot, and no matter what it is in the Air Force, it's a guaranteed job role once you leave Air Force. Once you leave Adver. Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. And Zach?
So Navy's a little bit different compared to the other two services. So we actually don't come to Adver straight away. We do our first year in the Navy, and that incorporates NEOC and NOYO. So NEOC is New Entry Officer course, and NOYO being Naval Officer Year 1. And that's just to really get us experiencing the Navy and to get us understanding about what we'll be doing after we get our degree from Adver.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, we did actually talk about that a little bit yesterday in one of your labs, talking a little bit about NEOC and Navy in general. So let's have a look at that. Now we're here with Zach. Zach, can you tell us where we are?
So we're here at one of the engineering workshops here at Adver, and here we have hand tools, lathing, or we get to work on electrical components as well here.
Fantastic. Now, can you tell us what is NEOC and why would a Navy midshipman complete their first year of officer training prior to commencing at Adver?
Yeah, so NEOC is New Entry Officer course, and that's where we learn skills in how to, going to sea, skills at going to sea, personal life skills, and some personal and professional development as well. Why Navy does that is so that we get an appreciation of what it's like to be in the Navy and what we might be doing in the Navy before coming to Adver and commencing our degrees.
Yeah, great. And so what is it like transitioning from NEOC to Adver? So what are some of the key benefits, I suppose, to getting that year of officer training before your study?
So some of the benefits include, traveling, getting a break between finishing high school and actually starting university study, as well as understanding what your job is going to be in the Navy before you start your degree.
Wonderful. Now we're in an engineering workshop at the moment, so can you tell me a little bit about one of your practical projects?
So one of our practical projects here is the Warman competition, where you get split up into teams and you have to solve a specific task. And you do that by integrating everything you've learnt previously in your degree, whether that be in coding, electrical components, or in the physical aspects of designing a system.
And how do you take those skills and applications forward into your career once you leave Adver?
So the way we take them forward is, in our careers, we're going to have to be working in teams with other engineers, and we're going to have to be working with equipment that integrates all these different components that we get to practice on here, but in the real Navy.
Wonderful. Thanks, Zach. So we'll jump straight into questions. We've got plenty coming through, which is wonderful. Make sure you get them through before the hour is out. Now, Brandon has asked, what leadership experience did you have prior to coming to Adver?
So personally, I didn't actually do a whole lot of leadership activities before I came here. I was always very interested in it throughout high school. I did like minor leadership roles, but nothing major. As long as you have a passion for leadership and you're looking to develop your leadership, it's not really an issue if you don't have, you're not a school captain, to say.
Okay.
So before joining the Navy, throughout high school and primary school, I was actually involved in numerous leadership projects and programs. So that started in sort of grade 5, grade 6 primary school. And that went throughout high school, whether that be class captain, I was football captain for a couple of seasons, and then in year 11 and year 12 I was a house captain. So just sort of that whole range. And also before coming to Adver, Navy gets some leadership training through that NEOC NOYO year.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, so leadership opportunities like that definitely help, but you can also be leadership in other ways, so amongst your peers, so just getting involved in team sports and team activities, leading amongst your friends, and even just simple positions like team captain. Those sort of build the skills that you need at Adver.
Wonderful. Now, Gus asked, is physics and maths B a must for engineering?
So I'll start off. So I'm from Queensland. So Queensland their curriculum's slightly different to down here in New South Wales. So I actually did Math B, Math C and Physics. I did quite well in those subjects, however, I did find there is a bit of a difference in the two different states. So even though I did do those 3 subjects, I still had a little bit of difficulty coming to this university. I still made it through, but I would definitely say it will help you a lot. If you're dedicated to studying, it shouldn't be an issue. I do know people that didn't do it, but yeah, I would suggest it.
So I know for throughout my degree, physics was definitely very helpful. I'm from Melbourne. Physics was definitely helpful. I did mathematical methods in year 11 and 12. That's not the highest one. So the highest one in Victoria was specialist mathematics, and I've got friends from Melbourne also, and that was a really big help for them, transitioning from high school to university maths. It's not necessary to do that highest level of maths in high school. I didn't, but just make sure making sure you're checking the UNSW website and the DFR website to make sure you're hitting all the required subjects. Also, a big benefit for me was I did chemistry in year 11 and 12, and that is definitely helping now as well.
No, if you do the extension subjects, if you have the ability to do that, it'll definitely make you more competitive. Because it's pretty competitive to get into Adver, as a lot of people want to join. So I think that's really helped me on my application process, doing extension maths and physics from New South Wales. Just it's good to set you apart from other candidates. But yeah, as long as you work hard and you're interested in it.
Yeah, fantastic. So Josh asked, what degree are you studying for the pilot occupation?
Yeah,
so I guess I think
that's for me. Well, I'm studying a Bachelor of Technology Aeronautical Engineering. So that's sort of an engineering degree geared towards pilots and aircrew. But coming in as a pilot, you can do any degree you want. You can do business, arts, engineering, science. I just found myself more interested in, engineering side of things. So I really wanted to come and focus on that. So I would definitely say whatever you're interested in, if you have a passion in engineering, definitely come do the technology degree. But if you're more interested in science or business, definitely do that.
So they don't necessarily have to go hand in hand with each other?
No, yeah, your job role can be different from the content of the degree you're studying. The important thing is just coming to university and getting that tertiary education, which helps build you as an officer.
That's specifically for pilot. You do need an engineering degree if you want to do aeronautical engineering in Navy or RAF. But for pilot, it's a little bit more flexible.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. So Matthew asked, can you play sport at Adver as an engineer, and should any of you be at training right now?
I think we all should be at training right now, but we're sort of here. So yeah, there's definitely time to play sports here at Adver. I play AFL. Here, and it's really about balancing sort of that, you've got the university side of things, but you need to balance that lifestyle sort of aspect while you're here as well. And it's sports is a great way to do that, because you're mixing with friends and you're also meeting other people outside of your degree stream and outside of your services as well.
And are you all involved in sports?
Yeah, so good question, Matthew. I play water polo. I'm part of the water polo club at Adver, and I'm supposed to be at training right now. But
we have you here instead.
Yeah, it's definitely a really good break from studying, from engineering and all the military stuff. It's good to make friends, socialise, keep fit.
Yeah, cool. Stephen asked, do you ever get to go on a holiday, and have you been away before coming? Have you been a time away before becoming back first? I'm not sure about that end bit, but do you ever get to go on holiday?
Yeah, so throughout the year we have different colour book periods. So it's where you can go on leave, or for Army especially, we do training. But when we do go on leave, you find that at Adver, because most of your time is spent studying throughout the week, you save a lot of money. So a lot of cadets here go on exotic trips throughout the year. So for example, we recently just came off a leave period, and a lot of my friends were in Europe and Asia, all with their mates, of course, because everyone's earning the same amount of money. So yeah, it's probably, I definitely would say that people probably get to go overseas the most while they're at ADFA, because we like definitely get leave and we've got money to spend.
Absolutely.
Even just small trips, like I go away to Sydney every few weekends just to spend time with my family and my
Sydney's
girlfriend.
home for you, yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Sydney, so it's only a 3-hour drive from here.
And you're Melbourne.
Yeah, so I'm from Melbourne, and I've been, so on my leave breaks, I've been to Europe, and I've also been up to Sunshine Coast as well with a couple of my mates. But on top of that, it's always nice to go home as well. And while you're here at ADFA, Defence actually pays for you to go home roughly three times a year. So you don't, you're not completely broken off from home. You can always go back and, say hello to mum and dad. Yeah.
Awesome. Joshua asked, how do you find managing your time doing engineering with all the contact hours?
It is, of course, it's the most, the degree, has the most contact hours, out of all the degrees here. You do need to learn organisation pretty quickly when you come in here, because you do have to balance that university side and the military side. So it's not like a civil university where you're allowed to just study and sleep kind of thing. Like we still need to maintain fitness and also maintain a drive towards the military. So it's definitely doable, 100%, but you do need to adapt pretty quickly.
Yeah, so as in I'm still enjoying myself doing an engineering degree. We've got more contact hours than the other degree streams, but that doesn't limit us in terms of being able to enjoy our time here doing sports or socialising with friends. But just with engineering, you need a little, like Lily was saying, you need a little bit more organisational ability, which you can develop when you're here.
Yeah, you're not expected to be a professional at juggling all your tasks at once. Like a lot of the second and third years will help you out if you're a first year, and the divisional officers and staff, really teach you techniques and methods so you can balance everything here at ADFA.
So you do work on a uni timetable like other universities? Yeah.
Yeah, we work on a normal university timetable, but we also have 2 times a week where we're doing military training, and that's covering things off like leadership theory, learning about the other 2 services that you're not actually in, learning about teamwork, learning about history as well. So the history of World War II, the history of Vietnam, and things like that.
And PT, which is physical training. So just a mix of battle PT, running, circuits, and standard PT.
And do you want to explain what battle PT is?
Sounds fun, is it?
Yeah, battle PT is definitely mostly army focused. It's just, classic like getting your tyres out, getting the jerry cans out. It's a whole lot of fun, a lot of teamwork involved. I'm not sure if the RAF and Navy like it too much. But
Too bad.
no, it's good fun. It's good fun.
Fantastic. Declan asked, what does your day usually look like?
So essentially we get up at 6 o'clock every morning for a valley, that's academy wide, and then at 7 o'clock we usually have 1 hour of military. So whether that be an OC's hour, with Officer Commanding hour, CO's hour, drill sometimes, DO's hour, or anything along those lines. It's just 1 hour dedicated to like military per se. And then especially for the engineers, we start class bright and early at 8 o'clock. And then depending on your timetable, academics go from 8 o'clock till 5:30. So during that time you can have breaks, just like a normal university timetable. So it really depends on the day. Then as Zach said, on Tuesdays and Thursdays for second years, we have AMET training in the morning and afternoon.
Yeah, and after class finishes at 5:30, that's when we usually go off into our own activities, like either going to sports training, or if you're part of any extra clubs, you'll go and do that and then leave some time for study in the afternoon.
Yeah, cool. Sunny asked, can you join ADFA after your first year at uni?
Yeah,
2 out of 3 can answer that.
So I actually went to a civilian university before I came here. I actually thought it was a great step up, especially for engineering, getting exposed to university life. So it's definitely doable. But the only thing is that if you do a university degree, depending on how many credits you do, whatever scores you got at that university will correlate as your scores to getting into ADFA. So it depends what you do. So if you didn't originally get the score, it's a great opportunity to segue and get high scores to get into the degree you want. But yeah, essentially you can. Yeah,
I finished high school in 2014. I had 1 year off just working, saving up, and then the year after that, I spent a year at UNSW in Sydney. So the transition for me was quite simple because going from UNSW Sydney, UNSW Canberra, a lot of the subjects were similar. Although there are some subjects which are a little bit different, and I have to do those different subjects here. And now in second year, I'm all caught up and just going ahead as normal. But
Were
yeah,
you both
definitely.
studying the same degree?
Yeah, I did engineering.
Yeah, I was doing aeronautical engineering, but I do know people who have done science and then maybe come in as engineering, or gone in as arts or business. So you can change degrees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Olivia asked, what's the difference between aeronautical and electrical engineering?
So the difference between aeronautical and electrical engineering, aeronautical's focusing a lot on the sort of physical aspect sides of things. So lift, you've got different structures that you need to know. We do touch on power management and electric flow, but not at the level that electrical engineers do. Electrical engineers work at the very, very small scale, so the circuit boards, designing electronic circuits and stuff like that, and really delving into the whole electrical sort of side of things, whereas aeronautical engineering is more focused on structures and lift in an airframe.
In terms of postings and jobs in the Air Force, you can do similar roles with either degree, such as if you're the flight line engineer of a unit, you can be aeronautical or electrical if you want to. But when it comes to doing actual engineering design postings, if you're an aeronautical engineer, you'll get put onto projects which need aeronautical engineers, and if you're an electrical engineer, you'll go to projects more based in that sort of space.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know in the at least in Navy, when you're on board a ship, mechanical engineering officers and electrical engineering officers do different jobs. Electrical engineering officers focus more on the weapon side of things, and mechanical engineers will focus more on ship structure, engine rooms, and refrigeration.
Yeah, cool. All right. Lauren asked, do you have any classmates who are mature age students or who have completed a first degree at a civilian university before coming to Adver?
So in engineering, we actually have quite a few mature age students, especially advanced students. And I know personally in my division, there's a few re-entrants people, so people that all went general entry and then decided to come over to officer. So it's pretty common, I'd say, very common, yeah. Yeah,
so the majority of people here at Adver are sort of just out of high school. There are a few people that are mature age students. So it's a possibility, but yeah, definitely check on the DFR site to make sure that you're within the age limit and you've got all the right things to get you into Adver.
Yeah, cool. Brandon asked, what do you recommend someone who is currently at a civilian university and who wants to go to Adver? What would you do? What kind of advice would you give them in regards to preparation for assessment day in OSB? Okay.
Yeah, I'd say one of the important things is definitely keep up committing to your academic studies at university, because you might be thinking, if I get into Adver, I don't have to worry about my university at the moment. But if you perform well at your current university and you get good grades, you can show that to Defence Force Recruiting. You can say, look, I'm trying really hard, I'm getting good results. And also, if you're doing a similar degree, you can pass those subjects and transfer credit to Adver. So definitely still focus on your academics, don't give up on that. And then also learning things that you need to for your service, like what your job entails, what your training involves, and start getting involved in leadership, teamwork activities, like we mentioned before, and keeping up your fitness as well. Make sure you can pass the standards.
And just general, get out there, get some life experience. I'd say learn, you get a bit caught up in uni, just about the individual. So it's good in a civvy uni just to get out there and look at leadership opportunities.
And you did say earlier that your credits from your civilian university do transfer over to Adver.
Yeah.
So obviously the better you're doing, the better it's going to look, the more competitive you're going to look at assessment day and particularly OSB as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Andrew asked, can Zach tell us a little bit more about his time after NEOC before Adver at Albatross?
So that was actually probably one of the best 6 months of my life, because after NEOC, which is the Royal Australian Navy Officer College, we get split up into our job-specific roles. So all the mechanical engineers and electrical engineers they'll try and get either posted to project officers or ships. All the maritime warfare officers will go and start their junior warfare application courses. Myself, I was posted to Albatross for 6 months, and that's where I learnt how Navy squadrons work, about how Navy helicopters and Navy engineering to do with aviation is integrated onto ships. And as well as that, it's your personal development is also continuing during that time. So in those last 6 months, I did a couple of really cool things. I helped out with some commando training as well, and did some adventure training. So I abseiled off cliffs, I did rock climbing, I kayaked across Jarvis Bay as well. So yeah, that was a really good 6 months.
Not the kind of things you'd get to do in the civilian world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was completely different, which was really good.
Yeah, wow. Sam asked, can Miguel tell us about the engineering racing team? Now, we actually had a chat about this yesterday, didn't we? So we were down in the racing workshop with you, and we had a chat about what goes into making a race car, I suppose, and how that relates to his job role. So let's have a look at that. So I'm here with Miguel. Miguel, can you tell us where we are?
We're in the Academy Racing Workshop at Adver. So this is part of an extracurricular activity where myself and a bunch of other people in the team just come in our own time to work on building a race car to compete against other universities at the end of the year.
Fantastic. Now, what sparked your interest in an engineering degree at Adver, and did you always want to join the Air Force?
Yeah, well, when I was at school, I always had an interest in maths and physics and all those sciencey sort of subjects, and really got me interested in, watching TV shows and movies about that kind of thing, reading up about it, reading books, kind of teaching myself. And I really found that I was shifting towards the aeronautical aviation kind of side of it. And I found that being in the Air Force could really give me everything that I wanted in that space. So I was really drawn towards Adver.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, speaking of subjects, what did you study at school that helped with your eligibility for an engineering degree at Adver?
Yeah, so I think the most important things which I did were maths and physics. I did the extension subjects, which isn't 100% necessary, but it really helps as long as you're a hard worker. And on top of that, also things like chemistry, and at school I did English and studies of religion, which is really good just to give me a broad general knowledge base, and that kind of shifted me and got me ready towards university. Yeah. And
how do those subjects sort of link to the workshop here and working on a race car?
Yeah, so I'm sure, as you can imagine, it's very technical. Building a complex vehicle such as this, you need to know a lot of physics principles like forces, stresses, moments, and those subjects gives you the foundation, the knowledge that you can use to apply that to a complex project such as this race car, so you really know what you're doing. Yeah.
And so let's talk a little bit about your classes here at Adver. What are they like, and how do they get you into the workshop?
Yeah, so I've been here for a year and a half, and so far the aeronautical and mechanical engineering degrees have been quite similar. So we've done conjoint subjects like physics, maths, engineering mechanics, thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, and that, as I mentioned before, really gives you the technical basis, the knowledge that you need to have to, figure out if a race car is going to work or if it's going to fall apart. And the other subjects we do are more focused on design, so important principles, creative thinking, how to really problem solve and think critically to come up with solutions that will work. And that really comes together, and in the racing team I can take that from the classroom and put it into practice when I might not have otherwise had the opportunity.
Absolutely. And so what are you looking forward to most once you finish up here at Adver?
Yeah, so after finishing Adver, I'm scheduled to go off to aircrew flight training, and the thing I'm looking forward to most is just taking this engineering knowledge and understanding and applying that in the air, and really having a good feel of like the aircraft and really knowing what's going on, and taking that for the rest of my career. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks, Miguel. We've had a great variety of questions coming through, so make sure you send them. We have about half an hour left, so get them through for our guys to answer any questions for you. We will keep going. Henry has asked, what are the general timeframes involved if you would want to do a bachelor course, and how long would an entire course take with military training combined? So I guess that's talking about initial minimum period of service?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So with Army, with science, business and art, it's a 3-year degree, and then you go across and do your 1 year at RMC, because that initial 6 months is done throughout your time at Adver. So in total, for those degrees, it's about 4 years of that training with a degree in getting the officer Qualifications. Engineering is a little bit different, so we complete our first 3 years of engineering here, then we go across to RMC for a year, and then we come back in our 4th year as a lieutenant and complete our 4th year thesis. Right. And then in regards to that, so our initial minimum period of service is double our training time +1, so it's 4 years training, so double that +1, so it's about 9 years.
Yeah, wow.
But that's broken down. So for Navy, you do that first year of training, so that NEOC NOYO year. Then you come to Adver, you do the 4 years of engineering degree. You do a year of specialisation, and then you've got a further 3 years to complete your initial minimum period of service. So all up, it's 9 years, but that's 4 years with your degree, and then 2 years of extra training with Navy.
Yeah, cool. McRae asked, what age did you apply for Adver?
I applied probably a little bit later than I should have. I started at the beginning of year 12, so I was 18 then. I would definitely recommend starting in year 11, halfway through 11 if you can at least, so that's probably around 17. But the ages are on Defence Jobs website for minimum ages of when you can start applying, and then to actually enlist or appoint, you have to be a minimum age of 17, I believe. But because the application process can take, you have to go through school, get your results, you usually start applying before you turn 17 if you're quite young.
Yeah. So I started at the beginning of year 12, and I got my job offer at the end of the year. Okay. But throughout that year, I was doing, the U session, I did my assessment day, I did the officer selection board, I passed my medical, and I did my fitness test. So throughout that year, it sort of is extended out, and you've got all these things to complete.
Yeah.
But also the good thing about doing it in year 11 is the fact that if you want to do engineering and you're not doing the right subjects to get into it, it gives you time to change and to take on those subjects for your year 12.
Yeah, just reiterating what they said, I think I started about at the age of 16, and it just starting at that early age gives you a good insight into what you need to prepare for to set yourself up for the best position to be the most competitive candidate for getting into Adver.
It is hugely beneficial, I guess, to be coming in and looking at applying at the beginning of year 11 or beginning to mid-year 11, so at least you can get an idea of what kind of subjects you need to look at to make yourself competitive, so particularly those maths, those physics kind of components. Yeah. Your application processes were all quite quick. They were also quite different though. You received your offer quite quickly.
Yeah, so it basically took a year, and then so I applied at the beginning of the year. I did my OSB midway through the year, and by the end of the year, so within sort of 5 months, I had that job offer ready to go. So mine was quite good.
Yeah, wonderful. Whereas Lily, you did note earlier you decided to take a gap year straight out of school.
Yeah. So I did start initially applying at that early age. However, I always wanted to have a year off between high school and coming to Adver, just to get some life experience. It wasn't a whole gap year, so I did actually study part-time just so it could help me into getting into here. But yeah, I always had that initial intention, just give myself some breathing space, some time to mature up before I really, look into becoming a leader.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I started applying in year 12, as I mentioned. I didn't end up going in until 2 years after leaving high school, but that for me is because I had some medical issues, just from history. So I just had to spend some time clearing that up, and that once I got past that, the selection process just carried on as normal.
Yeah, cool. Okay, Shane asked, are you allowed to join Adver after doing a gap year?
Yeah, definitely, and in a lot of ways it can help. I mean, it is very good staying in that study routine, high school straight to university, but then again, doing a gap year gives you a lot of life experience. So yeah, I would suggest it.
Definitely, and I guess in terms of ADF gap year as well, that's also a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do the ADF gap year in whichever service, and then there's a couple people in our year and year below us as well who've done that, got a good experience, realised that they like it, they want to do it, and then come across to Adver just and continue as normal.
Yeah. And with Navy, one of the things that drew me towards Navy as well was the fact that I could apply straight out of high school, but that year of that NEOC and NOYO gave me a break from high school, and it didn't just shove me straight into university. And that year, although it wasn't technically, what we're talking about, it still gave me that ability to develop and do different things that I wouldn't have been able to do if I just went straight into university.
Okay. Stephen asked, he said, it seems you only see positives in the role. What are the main negatives all about? So I guess some challenges that you guys have had.
So in regards to engineering, engineering definitely has the most contact hours, so that can be a struggle for some people in regards to like time management. When in saying that though, it's definitely the most rewarding degree I find at Adver. It really gets you somewhere. So even though you do have to make small sacrifices, going out a bit less, you know, trying to organise yourself a bit more, at the end of the day, it's definitely worth it.
And especially with engineering, our cohort, I find just within engineers, we're a lot tighter knit compared to the business or science or arts degrees, simply because you know, we're working all together, we're all going through the same experiences and stuff. So although it is challenging, you get that benefit from it.
Yeah, along those lines, one of the challenging things for me has been moving away from my family and my girlfriend in Sydney. But the good thing is that everyone else here is going through the same thing. So you're all mates and you all stick together and help each other out. So yeah, the strength of the wolf is a pack. Strength of the pack is a wolf.
And I mean, you do all stay together on campus, so there is that sort of community family idea amongst you all as well. So
yeah, and that's like a really good thing, is in the fact that you're all living together. I can go down, you know, into the next corridor and see my mate, and whether that be, you know, talking about the weekend or talking about, you know, problems that I've had doing, you know, questions for university and stuff, I can get that help and support from them, as well as getting support from, you know, the staff here as well.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, it was a note, I guess, with the Defence Force Academy that the teacher to student ratio is quite, it's one of the best in the country. So let's talk a little bit about that, I guess, in your classes and how that works.
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially when I was at my old university in Sydney, there were hundreds of students in a room with like one lecturer up the front. It's very hard to ask a question or get clarification on something. But here you can just, you know, walk up to your lecturer's office after class and they're more than happy to sit down and discuss something with you. And especially in engineering, where you're really dealing with technical concepts and you need that sort of help. And it's the same across all the degrees.
Yeah, definitely.
SJ has asked, I guess we spoke about sports earlier, what sport do you play, Lily?
I'm in the women's rugby union team here.
That's awesome.
And we've got like a whole range of sports as well, and it's not just, you know, we've got men's teams, we've got women's teams, and we've also got like mixed teams as well. And that's from between competitive leagues also to social leagues. And last night I was playing in the social netball team just for my squadron as well. And I also play in, you know, for the AFL men's team. So it's you've got that good mix.
Yeah, awesome. Nathan asked, what made you join the Army? Lily, that would be about you. I guess we got to speak about that yesterday as well, didn't we? So we spent some time with you down in one of the workshops that you get to work in your degree. So let's have a little bit of a look at Adver life as an Army cadet. So we're here with Lily. Lily, can you tell us where we are?
Yep, so we're in the hand tools workshop. This is where a lot of engineers get their practical experience.
Wonderful. Now you're studying mechanical engineering. Can you take us through some of the engineering streams available at Adver and why you chose mechanical engineering specifically?
Yep, so at Adver there is available mechanical engineering, civil engineering, aeronautical engineering and electrical engineering. I chose mechanical engineering because as an Army officer, when I finish my time at RMC, I'd like to go and work on some pretty cool vehicles, hopefully in an engineering corps.
Wonderful. And why Adver? So why did you choose to come and study here as opposed to perhaps a civilian university?
Yep, so I actually went to a civilian university before I came to Adver. And I noticed with Adver, the big difference is that there's a lot of support here when you're living with your classmates. It makes a huge difference. Also, there's a lot of sporting and group work opportunities. So I play for the rugby union club here, which I did not get the opportunity to do at my old university. And just in general, being an engineer in the military sense, you get to work on some really unique equipment.
Definitely. They don't have tanks in the civilian world, do they?
No.
Now we're here in the practical workshop. So
Yeah.
can you tell me what you do in here that would relate to your engineering degree?
Yep, so in your first year of engineering, you get to do a 2-week hand tools course. In that course, you get all your qualifications. So you can come into the workshop and work on whether that's personal items or items for projects, which all goes on to your second year project, which is where you have to build a robot.
Wonderful. Thanks, Lily. Now, straight back into questions. Fiona asked, she has a 13-year-old son interested in doing an electrical apprenticeship through Adver. So what kind of subjects should he be doing and how should he go about aiming towards doing that?
So just so we here at Adver we do a range of engineering degrees, and that's slightly different to typical hands-on apprenticeships. To do that, just make sure that he's looking at a degree, not an apprenticeship. If he wants an apprenticeship, make sure that you're checking DFR and looking for that opportunity. But for subjects into getting into an electrical engineering degree, definitely do physics. And we touched a little bit on this before, but definitely do physics and math, I would say. Make sure that he's getting those two. But also check the requirements for UNSW engineering. That's all on their website, as well as Defence Force recruiting.
Yeah, it sure is. Michael asks, what do you need to do for the Adver Education Award? And if I win it, does that mean I get into Adver, or do I have to do the whole process again?
Yeah, so the Adver Education Award is something you go in the running for through your normal application process with DFR. And I think you have to be in high school while you're doing that. And, you know, based on your performance at your assessment day and on your officer selection board, we'll see how you perform against, you know, all the other candidates. And if you're selected as one of the top performing candidates, you'll receive the award, which comes with a tablet as well. And you'll have to check the DFR website to find out specifics, but I don't think it guarantees you entry into Adver. You still need to make sure when you finish high school, you get the minimum ATAR and you get the minimum OP if you're from Queensland, to get you into the university, because you may be doing really great and get the award, but if you fall short just at the end and you don't get accepted into UNSW, then you can't come to Adver.
And I guess it's important to talk about as well the dual process with applying. So it's a common misconception, I suppose, that you can just apply through Defence Force recruiting, get into Adver, get into uni, you're good to go. But there is that dual application process as well with applying to the university, because this is a civilian university as well. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so you do need to, it's like any other university, there are minimum requirements for the different degrees. They do vary, so engineering obviously is a little bit higher than the other degrees. So you may be do very well on your OSBs, but you do really need to have that those credits there, because if you fall short in either one, you won't get in. I mean, it's very competitive here. You do need to have both those qualities there.
Yeah. So just on that, I was just below the ATAR score for getting into engineering, but because I did really well in relevant subjects such as math and physics, I got a couple of bonus points which allowed me to get in. So just try your hardest at uni, make sure you're doing the relevant subjects for engineering, and keep up that hard work.
Yep, fantastic. Dave asked, is the graduate medicine sponsorship in the Army also available in Air Force or Navy?
So we do have medical officers in the Royal Australian Navy. I'm not sure about the specifics. Medical degrees aren't offered here at Adver, so we only have business degrees, arts, science or engineering, but you'd have to check the Defence Force recruiting site for the specifics on that.
Yep, absolutely. Angela asked, if you leave the Defence Force and are qualified, is your degree recognised outside, or do you have to go back to education?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because it's a civilian university run by University of New South Wales, you'll come out with a degree, has a UNSW stamp on it, which is a pretty well-known university around the country and around the world. So if you stay for a few years after Adver and leave, you still have that degree. I mean, you can go back to university, do more degrees if you want to, but you'll still keep that degree forever. And especially for us engineers, it's approved and authorised by the Corporation Engineers Australia.
Yeah, so it's recognised by Engineers Australia, and the degree that we do here will allow us to do civilian jobs as well.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Olivia asked, if you start a type of engineering degree, what happens if you want to change?
It's pretty easy to change, especially in your first year. Adver does, they do realise that some people start here and then they realise this isn't for me in regards to the degree, so we do definitely cater for it. So if you're not enjoying it, you can definitely change over in those early days. You are required to graduate Adver within 3 years, so as long as you're able to get the credits up and finish your degree in 3 years, you can definitely change.
Yeah. The caveat on that is some degrees are linked to the jobs. And if you sometimes want to change your degree, that might mean changing your job as well. And that can be a little bit more complex. Like in the Army, because you don't really have a core yet, it's a bit easier to swap around. But in the Air Force, for example, if you go in as an electrical engineering officer, the Air Force is expecting you to come out of Adver with an electrical engineering degree. So it still is possible to change, but when you have to change your job roles, or if you're looking at changing services, it can become a little bit more complex. Yeah.
That makes sense. Nicholas asked, is Adver the only option for engineering? If not, what other option is there?
So Adver isn't the only opportunity to enter into the Defence Force with engineering. I would say it's one of the best options, however. Sure, you can go and do engineering at another university, such as RMIT or UNSW Kensington. But you're not getting all of the benefits that we're getting while we're studying here at Adver. You're not getting, that tri-service environment. You're not getting the military training. You're not getting, you might incur, help or HEX fees while you're doing degrees at civilian universities, and you're also
not getting paid to study.
Yeah,
there.
you're not getting paid to study while you're at civilian degrees, and that's for those things. Adver's the only place that you can get that. There's only one Adver, and it's yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about the benefits. I suppose you did mention a few. You get paid to study. What other kind of benefits are there?
So there's free medical, so that does make a huge difference. I didn't really realise it before I came into the ADF of how much of a huge difference that is. The facilities here, you can go down any morning if you're feeling slightly sick and just see a doctor straight away. So that makes a huge difference. Anything else?
So as along with the pay, you're getting paid to study, so you don't have to wait. You don't have to worry about getting a job or working while you study, because your job is to study and develop yourself here at the university, and also your accommodation is subsidised. Your meals are prepared for at the cadets mess and stuff. So there's those as well, and you're also getting free access to gyms and sports and stuff as well.
Yeah, and along with all those great facilities, and you can also get some really unique opportunities here at Adver. So I've been selected to go on an exchange with the Canadian Defence Force in a couple of months. So I'll be going over there for a visit, and then some Canadians will be coming here for a visit. So you can do international trips to Canada, the US, UK, Singapore, and there's a whole bunch of places. And as well as that, just you can go on trips just with sports, for example. You can compete in Defence Force competitions and represent Adver, and you're really, supported through that with Adver, because they really want you to get the most out of your time here.
Yeah, awesome. Peterson asked, is the food nutritious at Adver?
It's just like your standard mess meals. Of course, it's made on bulk, so it's made for the whole academy, because pretty much everyone eats the mess. It's just, standard. It's more like the company that's with you that's good, like going to the mess every day. So that's what makes it good. There's a pizza machine now, so you can have pizza and burgers, so that's new.
Okay.
And then ice cream, so...
There's the good thing about the mess now is that there's a whole range. So you can go into the food that's cooked by the mess staff, or there's options now where you can make a burger or make a pizza every now and again, just for that variety and stuff. And you're not limited to just eating at the mess. I go out and have dinner with friends every now and again as well.
Awesome. Now, speaking about burgers and ice cream, Bailey asked, what fitness level do you need to join and go into Adver?
So there's obviously the initial entry minimum fitness standards. So definitely would be a big suggestion that not to just meet those standards, but to be above them. Fitness is a pretty key part of being at Adver. You're expected to be like fit for service at all times. So definitely be ready. We do PT twice a week. So if you're not used to it, a lot of people fall prone to injuries. So definitely be used to like that impact kind of sports and especially cardio.
Yeah. Did you want to go?
Yeah. With that as well, we've got PT, like Lily said, but on top of that, you've got your own individual sports training. And the curriculums by the PTIs are really good. Like they'll make sure they take care of you, and with your nutrition from the mess, it's a really good schedule. But yeah, the important thing is to meet that minimum requirement, because that is only to ensure that you are capable of progressing further in Defence Force. So the Defence Jobs website does have a list of all the different scores you need to meet for push-ups, running, sit-ups for the different services. But to lead to excel, so try and do as much as you can. Yeah.
And there's also the Defence Force Recruiting Fitness app that you can download if you're if you don't know, how to train to pass that fitness test.
Actually, with working with a cadence and
Yeah.
things like that, it
Technique.
is definitely helpful. I guess we can talk a little bit more about that work-life balance as well. Stephen asked at Adver, do you still get the experience of a young person, or is it just straight into military life?
No, 100%. So obviously coming from the civvy uni, that you've also always got to make slight sacrifices with going to uni. You've got to, have your head screwed on. But I honestly haven't given up any of my hobbies, I don't think. I still get the whole weekend to myself essentially, aside from sport, which is a good release. So yeah, no, definitely. And then your mates are they're your mates. You find people with common interests here. So it's pretty much we are all dressed in uniform, but we all, at the end of the day, are just teenagers getting a degree in the military. So there's no real change.
As in, I'm still enjoying myself, even with the engineering degree. I still go out and socialise with friends. I'm still able to travel. Yes, there's that military side of things, but you need to weigh that up with, you might be doing that, but you're also getting paid. And whereas if you're at a civilian university, you might be, working instead. And I can say that, at least for myself, before coming to Adver, I was working at a pizza place, and I find it, here it's much more enjoyable, even with that military side of things. So I actually found it quite enjoyable, and I still get to do, I still get to go out, I still get to travel, I still get to go to music festivals every now and again. So you still get that experience.
And I guess that is sort of the trade-off to having so many contact hours as well. Yes, you're here a lot, but all of your friends and your family are here, and you don't have to go to work. So, the hours that you would typically spend at university and then your job, outside of this area, you're doing it all here. So,
Yeah.
Fantastic. Ashley asked, I'm interested in aeronautical engineering, but I'm not an overly sporty person. Is that a problem?
No, that's not a problem. So Defence doesn't ask you, or Adver doesn't ask you to be sporty. Adver asks you to have a good lifestyle and be engaged with the Adver community. You don't need to be sporty to come here and do Adver, but you need to meet those fitness requirements. So last night I played for my squadron's mixed social netball team, and to be fair, I've never played netball before, and a couple of my friends had never played netball. So in that instance, you don't need to be sporty, but as long as you're active and meeting those fitness requirements and meeting your university requirements, that's all we can really. That's all that's really asked for you.
Yeah. On saying that, as well as keeping up your fitness, there are a few other things you can get from playing a sport, like working in a team and being put under pressure and resilient situations. So as long as you can get that from other aspects of life, just getting well-rounded, being able to work with people in difficult situations, that really helps when you come to Adver as well.
Yeah, we're not like super athletes, we're just normal people as well.
Stephen asked, if I'm looking at life in the military, why would I want to study business? So I guess we can talk about the administration and business-based roles in the Defence Force. It's certainly not all, pilots.
So the main thing I think with business and arts and stuff, it's more just showing the ability to study, because throughout, especially becoming an officer, you're going to be doing a lot of admin, you're going to be in charge of people. It's just showing that ability to commit to work, get through it kind of thing. So obviously the business degree, accounting's not going to go across to being an infantry officer. It's more just showing that ability to be able to do work and
To learn as well.
Yeah, to learn, definitely.
Especially if it's what you're interested in. If you have a passion in that, definitely go and do it. I have a friend in my division who's studying business because he's really interested in it, and he's started up his own business selling protein. And yeah, it's really good if it's what you're interested in.
Yeah, wonderful. Michael asked, what happens if you fall behind by failing subjects? Do you get kicked out, or is there opportunity for a catch-up plan like normal universities?
There's definitely an opportunity for a catch-up plan. If you fail a subject, that's just a part of life. Here, as long as you're showing that you're trying, the staff and Adver will give you the support that you need to get you across the line. If you fail one or two subjects, throughout your course here at Adver, you're not just immediately booted out. You're given that opportunity to catch up as long as you're working towards, achieving that.
Yeah, but in saying that, at the end of the day, like, this is a job, so you are being paid to study. So it's not like a normal uni where you can just redo it and pay more to do it. Like here, you're being paid to do it. So it's definitely, you wouldn't say it's like easy breezy, okay to do kind of thing. Like, as long as you're showing that you're trying, and some people just genuinely just can't meet that bottom line, it's fine. You get a few bites of the cherry.
Yeah. Cool. Brendan asks, are there extra costs that come with joining and being part of any of the clubs, like the AFL team or the racing team?
Well, for a lot of the clubs, you do have your own merchandise and stuff, like if you want to get club, team hoodies and team shirts and hats. So you can pay for that sort of stuff if you want it. But things like registration fees, like to play in the local competitions, a lot of that is all covered by Defence. So it's really just if you want to get involved with the social events and social functions and wear the team merchandise, you can get as many hoodies as you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it all goes back to your club anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I think this is our final question for tonight. Jacob asked, is the Adver Open Day for 2018 a free entry event, or can we just walk in? The answer is yes. So the Adver Open Day is Saturday the 25th of August. So it's the last Saturday of this month. It's from 9 till 4, and all of these guys are involved in it in one way or another. Let's have a chat about some of the things you can expect to find at the Adver Open Day this year.
Yes, there'll be various displays from each of the different services and each of the different faculties. So you'll get a really good insight coming in deciding what service you want to go to and what degree you want to go to. So it's a really good way. So all the cadets will be out that day, so you can talk to anyone. There'll also be like displays there'll be an infantry section attack going on, and there'll be Navy stuff. So yeah, it's really, I definitely would recommend going to it.
Yeah, so before coming to Adver, I actually went twice. It's really quite an enjoyable day out because you've got all these displays going on. You've got flybys of Globemasters and different Airforce planes. You've got that section attack. You've got military police dogs coming along. But then also the real benefit of coming to Adver Open Day is that you get to talk to people like us that are living it. So you're not left in the dark, and you get a whole range of different experiences from each person because there's I think about 1,000 trainee officers here, and there's only 3 of us, and we're all individuals, and we all have individual experiences. And this is only an engineering talk, but if you're interested in business or arts, you can come and talk to business and art students and find out about what it's like for them. And you also get to come along and actually see the range of things that we do in terms of sports, VEX, what the university facilities are like, because it's all good. It's all well and good seeing it on video, but until you actually come and look at the place, you don't quite know what it's like.
Yeah, like you get to see everything, like Bera said, and we'll all be there probably with our clubs and helping out, touring people around the accommodation, or I'll be with the racing team, so we'll have bits of the car components out that you can have a look at, and all the other clubs you can talk to, and just if you're not sure if you want to come to Adver or not, definitely come along. And even just if you're interested in defence in general, you can come along because there's a lot you can find out about all the jobs. And Defence Force recruiting will be set up in the Academy Cadets Mess.
It will, yep.
So you can head down there, talk to the people who will be, if you're interested, they'll be the people interviewing you. They'll tell you, what you should do, what subjects you should do, how to prepare for it.
The requirements that you'll need to get into Adver.
Yeah, absolutely. You can head on over to the Academy Cadets Mess to speak with any DFR staff about starting an application for Adver or just getting an idea of that application process. Same with having a talk to any of the training officers in regards to their experiences here at Adver. What better opportunity, I guess, to get an idea of what they'd be living here. Other things that they have here, like you noted, they do have Hercules, Globemaster, Spartan, and other Air Force flyovers. There is an overwater obstacle course demonstration. That looked really cool. We have a Red Berets display. There's Air Force military working dogs on display. There's Air Force roulettes display. So there's plenty to see. Like we said, that is on Saturday the 25th of August from 9 till 4. So get in contact with your local DFR centre if you would like to get involved in that, or you can come on down. So wrapping up, I suppose you guys will be at that open day to have a chat about engineering, about your engineering degrees.
Come say hello.
Definitely,
come say hello.
we're all friendly.
And if you can't find us and you want to talk to an engineer, just ask one of the cadets, and everybody knows at least more than one engineer. So go up to people and ask, oh hey, I'm interested in engineering. Is there somebody that you can point me towards to talk to me about that? Yeah.
And so let's just, as well, just talk about, I guess, before we go, your favourite aspects of being here at ADFA, some great things that you've done here.
Yeah.
For me, it's definitely like that community family environment. So I'm friends with people here from all over Australia. I've got somewhere to go every leave period, and especially you meet people that, well, you usually wouldn't meet, or you usually wouldn't be in the same circles with. So I've met some amazing people here, definitely like mates for life kind of thing. And being in that, like when you're living together, doing PT together, doing degrees together, you become like so close with people. It's pretty much just like one big family, you could say.
Yeah, definitely like being here with like-minded people who have similar interests. For me, that especially comes through in the racing team. I get to work with a bunch of my friends, and we all learn from each other, teach each other, and not too long ago we had the Chief of Defence Force come down and drive our car, so
really,
he's a big fan of the team, so that was pretty cool, and we got to share that with a bunch of friends, and you get to learn and have fun.
Yeah, for me it's definitely about all the friends that I've gotten here, and sort of that community that we have here. There's not many places where you can go down the hall or go next door and see a mate and to shoot the breeze with, but also get help with classes and subjects and stuff. There's sports here for me. I'm really into my AFL, and I love my footy, and that's it's a really good way just to mix with mates and get really active as well. So for me, it's all about sort of that as well.
Being able to, I guess, attend your everyday uni classes and then go outfield and work with explosive ordnance.
So that's the good thing about it. Like you still get like the best of both worlds. So in the leave period, sometimes Army goes outfield, and it's really cool. Like to say like for example, I'm only 20, but I've done some like really cool stuff compared to some of my friends in the civilian world. Like it's definitely worth it at the end of the day.
As in, I've got friends that have come back we've all come back from leave, and we've all got different stories. So recently Navy went sailing on a old pirate sort of looking sail ship, and we got all the sails up, and we sailed up the northern beaches and northern coast of New South Wales, and that was awesome. And we'd come back, and then my friends from Army would come and tell me about how they fired missiles and threw grenades and stuff, and RAF would come back and tell us about how they went to squadrons and got to check fast jets out, and even some people get rides in fast jets if you get that opportunity. So it's definitely like diverse, and there's things that you can do here that you won't get anywhere else. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's the best of all worlds, isn't it? Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us for tonight. We are wrapping up, so make sure you get down to see the ADFA Open Day if you're in the area, and we'll see you at the next Q&A. Thank you.